delicious vibes.
It's happening?
We're getting.
Then I will be there.
Oh, girl, preach.
I'm not really type A.
That somebody is me, y'all.
And again, I didn't want to be in this conversation anyway. Yikes.
I know the secret now.
There's just too much of you and not enough of you all at the same time. Hey y'all, welcome to this episode of Hustling with Harges. I'm Courtney, a theater maker, sewist, knitter, nonprofit strategist, and certified TV nerd. I'm here with my co-creator and real-life sibling.
What's good, everybody? I'm Tyrone, motion designer, 3D artist, animator, self-proclaimed king of the nerds, and card-carrying film snob. And I'm the younger sibling, which means I bring the innovation and the petty. This podcast is our creative living room, a space for deep convos, pop culture mess, entrepreneurial chaos, and sibling joy.
Whether you're a maker, a dreamer, a burnt out artist, or just nosy, this show is for you. Let's build something dope together.
So pull up, subscribe, text your cousin, and let's get into Hustling with Harges. Big dog, Courtney. How you feeling? Feeling good?
I am feeling things. Things are being felt. Mostly positive, definitely on an upswing. I felt like I had a kind of rough week, but I am feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling great. How are you? Such a ridiculous
You've had to be
brain.
Black and a hip hop fan for a long time for that one. Well done.
Right. Feeling good. So no, I am doing well. I am feeling the transition of the seasons and ready. I feel like I've been perpetually at the like something is coming, something is getting. It feels closer.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out what that is and like be ready for it. How about you, bro? Where is your head at?
I feel really good. I feel very excited and motivated about life and dreams and pursuit. That's not a word. The pursuit.
I need
there
to hear
we
the rest
go.
of the sentence.
There
we
we
go.
go.
I was like, I need to
There
know
we
the
go.
rest of the sentence before I can tell you what word you're trying to put in there.
No, my brain just had a complete reset. But I'm very excited about the future. Things coming in the future, both the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. Just vibing in the ether.
Vibes. Yes. Yes, vibes.
Delicious vibes.
Money gun. No.
Yes, I'm still riding the wave of, humility is for suckers. So
Humility for seconds. Yes.
yes, money gun.
That just become my own. I don't know if you can meme yourself, but my brain has memed me just every time something positive is happening. Money gun.
I also love that your money gun is huge.
It's huge, definitely.
It's like a t-shirt cannon.
Definitely. A t-shirt cannon, full size, super soaker style. Double, like, not double barreled, but like double handled, like the old school.
You gotta rack that mug.
Right. Because if you're gonna have a money gun, I need it. I want it stacked. I want that money gun to have a magazine, baby.
Nice.
I don't need America to get all quiet and anti-gun on me now when you're talking about the money gun. Do it. Give me America's money gun. Right. That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. It's worked pretty well for us so far.
Well done.
Well done.
Iron Man reference to start the day. Well, way to go.
Well done. I love it.
But I'm doing really good, man. I'm very excited about this episode. Good. It's our learning episode.
Yes, talking about like learning and our educational experiences. I'm excited about that. It's been a journey. We're gonna have some stories. We're gonna see how much tea we get into because because gestures wildly educational institutions are a thing
that exists in the world.
Stuff happens there.
Yeah.
And some of it is good and some of it is not as great as good. Okay. All right. But yeah, so ready to get into it?
Let's get into it.
So we're going to start off as we are wont to do with our sibling shout outs.
Sibling shout outs.
Amazing. I don't think we have actual music, but I do wait for Tyrone sound effects when I say sibling shoutouts. I was like,
Sibling
what
shout
is?
out dance.
Now I have the kind of Euro version of just like somebody in like some type of all latex suit just going sibling shout out, and like that's
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
there's just like a flashing light somewhere.
yeah.
So
All my DJ friends, take that clip, turn that into a bit, put it in your set. Let's go for it. Let's just
just
see
go
what
for it.
happens.
Sibling shout out. All right, so for real, our actual sibling shout outs. There's actually a bit of a theme here today. We don't
Ooh.
normally necessarily have a theme, but we talked about it, and so we wanted to. There's going to be kind of a collective shout out, and then some representatives of the theme. And so, in celebration of the Wayans family being inducted into the NAACP Hall of Fame,
Whoop whoop.
so many Wayans doing so many things,
All
impacting our
great.
televisions for so long, just making just positive choices. I feel so much of our humor is influenced by the Wayans
The
at different
wins.
steps, just in different spaces. And I'm gonna admit something. I'm gonna bring you all close.
I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this.
Hold hold your hand with this. I've never watched White Chicks, and I feel like I am in a minority, and I know that. I couldn't get to it. The uncanny valley of it. I have
Deep,
really complex
heavy sigh.
feelings. I have very complex feelings about what would be the youngest Wayans, the way Marlon and Sean. Partially because I think I'm going to say it. I'm going to go on record. I have deep respect for their ability to work and do really complex things. However, particularly Marlon Wayans, I actually think turned into a rant that I didn't know I was going to do. I actually think Marlon Wayans is one of the greatest actors of our generation, and we're going to talk about why I think that's true.
Period.
I believe in it, truthfully. I also think that he definitely picks and chooses when he's going to act and when he's not going to act. And I think this actually is connected to the training. Like as an actor, I do get frustrated because sometimes I'm like, I'm going to watch him give a deeply nuanced, interesting, hilarious performance, or he's about to clown for 90 minutes. And you don't know before you buy a ticket what you're going to get. And I realize I love watching him act. I hate watching him clown. And I say this in disrespect. I say that not to disrespect clowns. Clowning as a tradition is a whole thing. But it's just sometimes where it's like, oh, I can tell you're just giving silly as opposed to character. And I am frustrated. He doesn't care. Marlon Wayans doesn't care what I want him to do or not. And so this is my own thing. I find it every time I've seen him in spaces and I watch him give like performances that have broken my heart and performances that were grounded in even the ridiculous ones. I actually really think he does a great job in like Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. But there are other pieces where it's like, I was like, you just played it for laughs in a way that wasn't interesting. And I find it like when he's disengaged, I find it bothersome,
That
which
is
is
an
why.
interesting take. I don't know if I've ever seen him in something that makes me feel like it's bothersome in the sense of like, I feel like his clowning is just a different hat.
I can see it. And again, this is my issue. He doesn't have to be any different. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you how I feel. And again, I love watching him act in real things so much
Yeah.
that like and I think frankly it's some of the reasons why I thought the Wayans brothers was hit or miss. I love that show.
Hmm.
And there are a lot I had some really great experience watching that show, and sometimes I was like, I don't think you're here today. And like this is my own parasocial nonsense, I'm sure. But there are times where I'm just like seeing it's like, oh, I see technique, and then other times I see disengagement, and there's something that I can connect with where I'm like, when I believe you, I will follow you to the end of the earth. And the second I don't believe you, I am disinterested.
That is that's also shows me at least the uh what's the word I want to say? Your expertise in the craft itself to find those nuances in his performances to understand that like this you might have an off day today, especially on like a serialized sitcom like that to catch it in between things to be like, oh, this is not, you're not. you're not feeling this as much as you were, two or three episodes ago, whatever happened on that day. And I no, I think that's a very you're one of the few people who I feel like can say that and truly mean it as like a feedback thing and not so much of like this nigga's just kind of shucking and jiving.
Right.
Like,
No, he's too smart for that. I've watched him. And there are interviews he's given where, especially now on this press tour for him, like he's talking more about past stuff, and so that he's kind of all over my newsfeed right now. But watching him talk about the craft is interesting. He's so very intentional, and I think that's both a byproduct of him being a really smart person, and also the legacy of being 9 out of 10 in a performing family or something like that. Like I know he and Sean are the babies. I just can never remember which one is I think Sean is the youngest. I believe he is the second youngest. This is the thing the internet could tell me. I'm not looking it up right now. It's slightly irrelevant. But watching the level of care and intention, the ways he talked about it, even talking about like building Power Tap, that character for Norbit, right? There's a bit of him talking about it, and it's like what he was trying and why. And that bit is funny. It's ridiculous. And there are just other times where it's like, I don't think you care here. It's one of the reasons why some of the later scary movies I don't like. Like, I've watched a lot of Marlon Wayans acting. I want to be really clear about this. I also want to name that, like, again, deep respect for the legacy and the family. And again, I started by saying, I think he's one of the greatest actors. And whether or not you're going to get that level of performance is just arbitrary in a way that, like, frustrates me.
I'll say, is it a thing that because we also put, and this is not to deter, and I love that we've just gone into this. Oh, and the fucking sibling shout out, so good,
right?
we do this same
thing.
thing with athletes in the sense of like, if you're gonna play hard every time. And
I'm sure, and I'm not an athlete fan, so I don't know. I can't watch it and see it. And there are other actors who I don't like because I also think they're phoning it in different ways. And I think I am personally disappointed. He can do what he wants. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not asking anybody to be canceled. I'm not saying I'm telling you what my experience is, in that in some ways it's like having like your favorite flavor of ice cream, but every like fourth carton is bad, right? And so the risk is like, I like it so much when it's good, but there's a chance that it's gonna be the worst one. It's gonna be the like, and so the level of inconsistency, it's a stronger relationship than it should be. And
so
I
good.
still mourn the Marlon Wayans Richard Pryor biopic that we never got,
but we're getting.
I know we've seen some clips on it, but it's happening.
We're getting.
Then I will be there.
It's happening.
I will be in it.
We're getting.
I want it. I would love it, and then you'll see me on this very same podcast being like, Marlon for Oscar. Like, I'll have a hat and just stuff, just whatever's on my shirt, just like his face on the Oscar, like. Right, just in there. Yeah. Right.
I love it.
It is it, because again, his ability to do it is, I have no doubt. And we didn't even do the sibling shout out, just started talking. But very excited that the Wayans family.
We're not even talking about it.
That's right. They were the inspiration. So very excited for the Wayans family. Congrats on getting into the NAACP Hall of Fame. But my sibling shout out, the theme around this really was other like, Black entertainment legacies. And so I wanted to shout out the Smollets. Journey, yes. Jesse, Jojo, Jazz, Jake, and Jacqui. And I love the Smollets for a variety of reasons. Justice for Jesse. I have not watched the documentary, but I also was like pro his story. I believed it. I was like, some of the stuff is nonsense, and so I'm glad.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, and I'm glad that the documentary is really like shining light on what was there, but also like to be a family that has been working consistently for a very long time. Like, I just appreciate their ability, right? Their ability to like, for all their siblings to have spaces in the entertainment industry for us, for folks to be working for as long as they have, to have a sitcom where I believe 5 of the 6 of them were on that sitcom.
Insane.
So like just that capacity to have longevity, to truthfully maintain their integrity, to maintain a connection to each other. So yeah, so shout out to the Smollets.
Amazing.
Tyrone.
My sibling shout out is also a family, specifically a TV family as well. I chose the Maoris. So Tia, Tamara, Taj, and Tavor. I want to make sure I got that
I
right.
think it's Tavior, but
Tavior. But I again another family we've seen on TV for 30 years who we love and enjoy and embrace in the community. I do love me some Taj Mowry as a small, faded, as in the haircut, light-skinned child, smart guy
good
was
old smart guy.
was my TV show. Okay. Loved it. I loved every minute of it. He's a smart guy. I know the whole theme song in my head. Shout out to Jason
Amazing.
Weaver. Shout out to Omar Gooding. Like everybody in
Absolutely.
that show was perfect.
Also,
It's
yes,
so
Omar
good.
Gooding, another sibling dynasty, another
Another
family
sibling
dynasty.
dynasty.
I also want to do an unofficial shout out to Essence Atkins, who I think has worked with everybody we just named.
100%. 100%. His
I was
essence
like, wait a
action is
second.
actually the linchpin of the group.
Right. Because I'm like, wait a second. I
Yeah.
think she was on every one. It worked in every one of these shows. So just shout out.
Who is another person who I believe does not get the flowers that she deserves as like a character actress. Like black 90s sitcoms, when you were doing this, you were like, okay, is Essence free? Can we get Essence? If we can't, we'll figure it out.
Other people there, but Essence
But
Atkins has been working. Yes,
if Essence Atkins is there, we're gonna get 3 seasons. Period.
absolutely. Professional.
Professional. Okay, she shows
Love it.
up. She does the job. I'm sure she's an
So
EP on a couple of those shows we didn't even know.
gotta just shout out. Shout out. I not be. She's not a sibling in these things, but I feel like she's played love interest, sibling. She's been related to every person we've named in this segment
Yes,
today on
including a
screen.
Wayans, I'm sure.
I'm certain. No, she was just in Damon Wayans. She's in Papa's house.
Oh yeah.
But I also think she did something else with Marlon. I just there's no way. There's no way that
I love
they haven't done it.
Essence Atkins. I love her so much.
Yeah, so shout outs to the Smolletts, shout outs to the Maoris, shout outs to the Wayans, and closing out our sibling shout outs with our dynamic duos of Dynamic Duos Countdown. So today we are on day 9 of our Dynamic Duos Countdown, where we want one, both, either, any of these sets, our favorite sets of creative siblings, to join us. And those creative siblings are Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen, and/or Willow and Jaden Smith. And, you know, we're getting there. 9 episodes in. Energy is out there. They're going to want to talk to us. I believe in it. They're ready.
Wholeheartedly believe in it.
They're coming to talk. We're going to talk about what it means to be creative siblings, what it means to build a career with the person who you got to either come into the world either with or very closely to. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Amazing.
day 9. Shout out.
Day 9.
Get to us.
Yes. Yes. Feel it.
Yes. Manifest. And with that, we're gonna shift into our main moment. Now's the time for the main moment, the part of the show where we dig a little deeper. Whether it's creativity, culture, chaos, or care, this is where we pull the thread and see what unravels.
Main moment.
You're ridiculous. So today's main moment really is about education. We're really trying to talk about training and education. What were some of the educational experiences that helped form us? What types of training are we trying to continue to do? What are the trainings that have impacted us? It's really, we've talked a lot about like our current creative processes, but I think it's worth it to dive deep into what
got us here.
training programs and processes that got us here,
Yeah.
or at least that we pursued.
I love it.
So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put Tyrone on the spot. We're going to start with him. When you look back at your formal education, what do you feel it actually gave you beyond the degree?
This is a great
Also,
question.
provide some context around what that education was.
This is a great question. I went to two technical art schools that no longer exist.
For profit education.
For-profit education for the loss. Okay. I had a very interesting, but with that, I had a very interesting like education going to going to these for-profit PWIs, which is its own thing dealing with it. But what it really gave me was the confidence, the connections, and the like creative pathway that I have now. Like through, I'm not giving no love to the school. So through my second university I went to is where I met my now business partners and best friends, D and Corey, who you hear we talk about a lot, who are the Juice crew. We started Juice together. We started Epic together. We this is the core. And I found, and we met in college, and meeting them completely changed the trajectory of my life. So like what education really gave me and what I feel it really gave me was community in a way that I felt like both seen, not that I didn't wasn't seen at home or within my already kind of built community, but to have a dream of being an animator and like being a showrunner and then talking to somebody and be like, oh, I have that same dream. It completely shatters so many barriers that I don't have to like explain things. Like it's just the beauty in the beauty in community that connects with you on that way. It goes far beyond a degree. It's what the thing I learned most from school was networking and and building community.
That's amazing. It's you just never know. I have several strong opinions. Surprise, surprise. But I also think that one of the most valuable things from a creative education is the ability to connect with other people who are also creative and to have time to practice it, to work on it. I think one of the things that I think is undersold around colleges or universities that do creative training is just the ability to think and work on this thing for hours every day, you know?
Talk about it.
Like it's regardless of training, and I do want to talk about training and specifics, and I'll answer the question, but I do want to name that like college. I wouldn't say it doesn't even have to be university setting, but particularly talking about creative education. So conservatories, even the for-profit universities that still exist that are running ethically, if they exist. Um, just the ability to say, here is my degree. We are going to talk and work and think about this creative process every day. We're going to break down pieces of it. We're going to offer you tools and practice rooms and other people who have expertise who are talking about it, and space. We're going to give you assignments. So you have 2 weeks to do a thing, but now you have that as your homework, is to sit and be creative and manage the prompt, manage your skills, use your resources working toward the prompt. Like that is so valuable. Just having the time to think creatively with a goal and get feedback is just underrated. It's underpitched is what the value is, because you get out of those spaces and now you have to figure out not only how to build the discipline, like the practice of like, I'm going to make this creative space, but having time to do that and then figure out when to go get groceries and when to go like do laundry and when to like be an adult is so much harder. So yeah, I just want to shout out, just like, I think almost regardless of how good the institution is, having time and some space and a goal is, I think, a third, frankly, of the value of a creative education.
I want to double down on that. You said have doing the creative process while also living in the sense of like the school I went to did not have traditional dorms or a traditional campus life. So I was also living in an apartment, being an adult, having to go grocery shopping and go to work while also having to be a creative. So the it kind of I mean, that's one thing that I will say that it did. It prepared me to be a creative professional, which I will be forever grateful for.
You ain't got it. I I understand it.
Um, and it yes, it taught me how to be a creative professional through the lens of like, okay, you have 2 weeks, but then I also have rent, and there was a time where I was working two jobs and going to two schools, and like there was a time where all my time was taken, and like I still tried to figure out, we're writing the stories in the management office of Tim Hortons while it's 3 in the morning,
Munching on Timbits.
munching on Timbits and slamming slamming espresso hot chocolates at 4 in the morning
Oh, yikes.
because you have class at 9. And so you drive the hour to get to class early, and you sleep in your car while your heart is racing because you've had three hot chocolates. And you're just like, if I can get 20 minutes, if
Just
I can
20
get
minutes.
20 minutes, I'm good.
That is that part is not my journey, but I get it. I support it. That was not my journey. No,
What about you though, Court?
so looking at my formal education, it gave me a lot. But I will also say I was a very traditional student, right? And I will also name, like, look, y'all, real to real, person to person again. I'm bringing you close again. Freaking, we're in it.
Hold your
41
hand.
years old. Let me hold your hand.
hand.
Or maybe I'm asking you to hold my hand. I'm 41 years old. I've always been a good student. I am definitely, in many ways, the stereotype of the black or brown of firstborn daughter of a firstborn daughter. you know, I say, and my mom is, she's actually the youngest, but like definitely her firstborn daughter energy. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my grandmother was also a firstborn daughter. And I name that because it shows up, right? You talk about like I'm a third generation family manager, even if I didn't have to be, just like it's just who I am. And I am probably, again, at 41, realizing that like there are some neurodivergence that because I was good at school, nobody ever talked about. And there are probably just needs of being a type A person. And I'm not really type A, although every time I say that, there's somebody who looks at me like, girl, okay.
That somebody is me, y'all. Okay.
But I say that to say that like school was never the challenge. I'm somebody who likes school. I did go to school on an academic scholarship. I did like, and I bring all that up to say that like there are things about school that I never had to fight that made it easier. And so going to school for theater performance, or for undergrad, I went for theater performance. The feedback I got around kind of going was very much like, but you're so smart. And so there was a kind of theme of feeling like I'm somehow wasting an education by going into theater performance, which is, kind of funny. I don't believe it was a waste, but it's also funny to be like, we'll tell the story of how I went on one audition as an adult, but that's a separate thing. Anyway, Tyrone, you were about to say something.
I was going to ask, and maybe you were going to answer this, but like, the ADH brain had to pop in. As the top 5 smartest people I've ever met, how did it make you feel when people were like, you're going into theater, but you could do anything? Like, how did that make you feel?
Again, we're all close. We're sitting closely. All right.
Very,
we're all
very
in this
kumbaya
together.
moment right now.
We're in here. We're all family.
In
It
the
annoyed
club.
the absolute shit out of me,
I
Tyrone.
figured.
It did. And it's not because I probably have more grace for it now as a grown up, understanding that like 20-year-old, 18-year-olds making those types of decisions have no idea what they're talking about. And so I get that. I used to take it far more personally than I do. But the thing that like drives me nuts about it is, even though I was 18, even though I was young, you started that sentence by saying how smart I am, right? So like there's a thing that you see that I have the ability to make reasonable decisions and well thought out decisions. Like you brought that into the conversation. I didn't start that way. You did. And so then to say that to me and then assume in the second half of the session that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I didn't reason this out in any way, that was what would annoy me. The sentence doesn't have internal logic. You started by saying that I am smart. And again, I didn't want to be in this conversation anyway. You started it, whoever you are. Right? Like, I didn't come to you talking about me. You came to me talking about me.
I'm just minding my business, eating yummy
I was
Japan.
doing this thing.
You over here talking to me.
You know, and that senior year question where it's like, oh, where are you going to school? What are you doing? If you don't know, then you don't know me enough. So we haven't. Why are we talking to me? Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna let it go. I thought I let it go more than I have, apparently.
What's that? Andre Bauer? That's clearly struck a nerve with me.
That's clearly true for me. Oh, absolutely. So no, but yeah, to start at like, you recognize that I have the capacity to make reasonable decisions, or at least well thought out decisions, because that's why you started at you. But you're so smart, and then but you could do anything. I could. Do you also understand what the word anything means? This is included.
This is included in the anything.
This is included in the anything. The other thing, this is a bit of a tangent, but I think it's worth naming, is I went to the University of Michigan. Grew up in Michigan. Why this is relevant is, like, you know, Michigan as a state has a very strong sports culture. And it also has a lot of colleges, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it has a lot of schools for a state. And so because of that, it is just very common, because of a strong sports culture, because of a strong college culture, to wear your alma mater, or to wear sports things, right? It just kind of, regardless of whether or not you went.
Wearing sports paraphernalia is
just wearing sports paraphernalia is just not. It's not an uncommon thing. I'm sure that's true almost in a lot of places, but I'm saying specifically for Michigan. And I don't know if it was racism, probably. I don't know what it was, but I would wear Michigan gear. And sometimes you get a go blue, you get a shout out, you know, some things happen. This happened like through especially the summer, like right before I got into school, I was starting to get Michigan stuff because that's where I was going. And even in the summer, in the time between wearing Michigan gear, somebody, and I was also working retail, so sometimes I would comment when other people were wearing some type of sports gear. Oh, go blue, naming the rival, you know, the school down south, little brother. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. Playful something, and somebody was like, yeah, but I actually went there.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that happened to me it happened to me a lot. And I'm like, I got a full tuition academic scholarship to go there. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Is that what you want to do right now? Do you want to do this?
Hold my poodle.
Oh, right. Right. But it was like, oh, but I actually went there. Or sometimes I would hear, again, senior year, you get the questions, where are you going to school, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to Michigan. Great. What are you majoring in? Theater performance. Oh, that'll be fun.
Now, if I roundhouse kick you in the jaw.
Right. That'll also be fun.
That'll also be fun.
That'll also be fun. And so it really was, to circle back to the question, not to just name the experiences, but it really was about like what the perceptions were. If you want to talk about something I knew, it's like what really understanding how going to this school meant a thing to other people that I had no relationship to or responsibility for. Like, that is the thing I learned, right? And it was interesting also to navigate in-group belonging in this sense of like going to Michigan very much was like, oh, this is what it means to kind of be formally, for lack of a better phrase, like indoctrinated into a group of people. Like, in that, especially once I got out, like really learning, like, frankly, in ways that like folks wanted to be racist, I could say something about Michigan. I could throw a go blue. I could throw something in there and all of a sudden watch particularly white people change how they talked to me, because you could see the shift from one of them to one of us in a way that was
it's
wild.
so fascinating.
right? Where, yeah, you could see people's go, oh, she's one of the good ones. I hate that phrase. I don't love, but I could watch the shift, the little person behind the eye, like, file me in a different way that I wasn't courting, but I could watch it, right? I could
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah. You're
this
very just
thing,
observant on it.
right? Where you're like, oh, that's now that, like, that gives you something. Again, it gives you have a story about what that means about me that I don't see, or that can help inform how we go forward here on out. But lastly, to really narrow down on this question, and we're going to be here for
We're
a
gonna
while,
be here for a
y'all.
while.
But what it gave me, though, specifically what theatrical training gave me, and I mentioned this, not to shout out other podcasts, but I will, in that I was recently on Tim Sonova or WSS HR Labs Work Shouldn't Suck podcast talking about what my theatrical training gave me. Really is the ability to understand, like, how the words we're saying and the emotions we're feeling and the energy of the room is impacting all of our interaction, right? In real life, we are saying things, we are feeling things simultaneously. Sometimes the things we're saying are direct reflections of the things we're feeling. Most often, frankly, they aren't. Most often they aren't, but they're all in the room. And theatrical training really gave me practice and technique to understand alignments and misalignments between what's being said and what's being felt and what's happening in the space. Understanding what audience is doing. And audience can be a room full of people, but it can also just be you and me in this room or in this staff meeting and be like, hey, the audience is shifting. Somebody said something and then something changed. And now what is happening? And I think that's actually one of the things that makes me a better director than I am an actor. I'm a good actor. I actually think I'm a much stronger director because I can see how all of those things are swirling and use that to tell, like, an effective story. And my formal theatrical education really helped me articulate that as a skill as opposed to just things that I was kind of operating in as intuition.
Amazing, amazing. Where do you go from there? Well done. Um, I'm
Let me
pretty
have
sure we
questions.
asked that we kind of went into this next question, so I'm just gonna skip this next question.
There's always more. I always have stories.
Um, where did the school succeed in preparing you, and where did they fail you?
Yo, that is a real question. Um, I think it prepared me really well in being a collaborator. Really taught me how to work more effectively with other people. And something that they prepared me to do that I don't know if they were trying to do, but and so I don't know if this is where they failed me or not, but was in knowing, oh, I have to build my own shit. Because
Talk about
they
it.
I had some really powerful teachers, and I wanna just shout that out. Rest in peace, Professor Glenda Dickerson. Shout out to Oyambo. Shout out to also rest in peace, Eric Fredrickson. But many others, but those three really impacted my trajectory from undergrad. Really helped me see that I could build something, that I had something to say. And there are definitely some others, but I just really want to shout out those three specifically. But they didn't. There are a lot of folks, like, just as a whole, that theater department didn't quite know what to do with me. There are some things I understand about why that is, but it really was like, I've always been short, I've always been loud, I've always been smart, and I wasn't quite fat enough at the time. I've grown now, but I wasn't quite fat enough at the time to be the quirky best friend. I'm going to say, I'm going to be like, I'm not funny. And that's not true. I am funny. I am not a comedian. I'm not good in that way. Like, my mother, I think, is far better at being able to stand up and, like, give you a pitch that's a joke. Like, she's great at a setup. Like, my mom could do a stand-up set. But I'm actually not a good improver. And I'm not a good... I'm comedically funny in the sense of, like, I'm good. My timing is good. And I can be witty. But I'm not... This is no dig to Sherry Shepherd, but I feel like every time I see Sherry Shepherd, and I think she's great. I go, oh, that's the energy they wanted. I can't. That's not me. That's who they thought they were trying to get.
That's a really great reference, and I
Right.
definitely don't see that as a dig at all. No.
It's right. No, she is great, and I'm saving. I'm looking like, oh, that's the type they kept trying to get me to be, and that's just not who I am, right? And I know I keep saying racism, but there I feel like there's also just some racism where they couldn't figure me out as like where I went. They were like, well, if you're not funny best friend in that way, and you're not
You're
kind of
clearly not
quirky,
leaning lady.
right? And I'm not leaning
You're
lady.
clearly not leading
Right,
lady
you're definitely too short. Your boobs are too big. There's just too much of you, and not enough of you all at the same
all at the same
time.
time.
So you're not gonna be that. You
So
can't be.
stupid.
You're not an ingenue, ick. Right? So like, who are you? But you're also in your 20s, so you can't be. We can't mammify you just yet. We want to, but we can't quite.
No, it's on the list.
It's all right. We just gotta wait. We gotta let it cook a little bit longer. So they didn't know what to do with me, and so as a result, like some of them really didn't teach me. They were like, "Well, we just don't see who's gonna cast you." And I just, I want to also shout out. I feel like actually the closest person right now who's working to like my type actually is Uzo Aduba.
Mm.
Right. And particularly once I saw the residents, I was like, that's me. It's
Yeah,
tarp
yeah.
wise. Like she's brilliant or whatever. But like as far as like where they were gonna fit me, like they just didn't know. This was
Uzo
the
hadn't
early
come
two
out yet.
thousands. It didn't right. That's 20 years away. But like they were just this idea of like they didn't know where to put me. And so because of that they didn't quite teach me. And so if I wanted to do things, I had to build things. I had to make decisions about what I wanted my career to be. And so I started an organization with some friends who were still deep friends to this day. But it really was like, okay, who you are, how you see me doesn't have to be who I am. And I always have the capacity to build something. And so they prepared me for a world that is going to that is either going to try to make me into what it wants me to be or ignore me. And so having that experience early, I was like, oh, okay, I know who I can be. And so they failed me in that some folks just felt like it wasn't kind of teaching me. They didn't invest in me in that way. Senior year, 4 years of acting school. I'm doing the thing. We're offering feedback, and the head of the acting program at the time is offering advice on what folks should be doing after he showed up to his own class 40 minutes late, which is a whole separate thing. And the advice he gave me 4 years of acting school for going into the world was he said I wouldn't audition unless you bought high heels and a wig.
I am so glad you're telling me this now
20 years later.
because high school Tyrone would have called him all types of things.
But
I would have
that was it. He just like could not.
derailed my entire life.
Yeah, don't do that. And I had locks at the time, but that was it. That his advice was be taller and change your hair. And I was like, that's okay. Thanks. So yeah, they failed. Many people failed me in actually like teaching me how to be a performer, but in failing me in that way, they taught me how to build opportunities and also taught me that like I do love performance, but I did not want to spend my time fighting for people to see me in that way. And so I made a bunch of other opportunities and so stayed deeply connected to the arts. I still like to perform. I still like to direct, but it really forced me to find the other things that I do that have helped me build a career, frankly. And so for that, I won't ever burn the school to the ground, but I'll be grateful that like it gave me a lot and it gave me a community of collaborators and it prepared me to understand how the world saw me in ways that I didn't internalize. I was just like, oh, you all aren't going to get me, so I'm going to go build the spaces and connections and environments that do get me.
So powerful.
All the stories, so much.
And quite similar.
Go for it, Ty. Yeah.
Quite similar.
Where did the school succeed in preparing you, and where did they fail you?
Succeeded in preparing me by telling me the name of programs and terminology of things that I could look up on my own. How it failed me was that it failed me by the sense of locking me into a creative box. Like I also changed like so I changed my major uh because there was a moment where I just felt really defeated in one major, and so I changed my major to another one and finished out that way, which felt like a cop out to me. But what it told me is that again, I have to do this on my own. I'm not gonna you guys aren't gonna help me. And that's fine, but it's not gonna like I have to cool, I just got to do this. And like what I think it really prepares you, at least in the industry that I was in or going to, is that it prepares you to work at a car like a car corporation doing a lot of renders for cars, which I have no this is no shade to people who make car renders. That's just not what I wanted to do. A lot of companies come there and they're like, this is what you should be doing because this is what everybody's doing in Michigan if you want to be in this in if you want to work in 3D here. So I've never worked in a car industry at all. But how they failed me is really what started the building blocks of like creating my own animation studio with Corey and D because we didn't want to make cars either. Like, and I think you'll find that a lot of people who went to school there didn't want to make cars because we have to eat and we need shelter. So, um, that's where I'm at with it. Like it failed me in so many other ways. And like I also wasn't, I was a kid figuring it out myself. So like I'm sure there are moments where they could have I could have succeeded in a way, but I felt like I probably would have had to like round some of my corners off. And I didn't want to do that. So uh
That's real.
so yeah, I feel like they failed me in a way that shaped me into a better person and like allowed me to be collaborative and like want to take the people out of the world who are in cars because they want to be or because they have to be, not because they want to be. I want to be able to be like, well, you can do that thing that you wanted to do now.
I mean, I want to like double down on that, and that I think some of the ways that both institutions, our separate institutions, failed us is I understand that they can't necessarily do this, but I had some really great teachers, and some of the terrible teachers I had were teaching because capitalism meant they needed to eat,
Mm,
right?
hmm hmm
And I don't subscribe to this idea of, that those that can do, those that can't teach, like that's bullshit. I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. However, I definitely had some teachers who were frustrated and or failed by their metric, not even by my metric, performers, and were and resented people for their youth, for their some folks for their talent, some folks for their clarity, and felt like part of teaching was making the young people as jaded and disinterested and cynical as they were.
Oh, girl, preach.
And so I think some of the ways the system or institutions failed was, and collectively failed us, was because we don't subsidize artists and or creative folks in any way, because there isn't support, because you have to what you were saying, eat, get shelter, get health insurance, we need to pay to live. It encourages some folks who have really negative views on what it means to be a working creative or a working professional, or who feel again their own discouragement or disillusioned or have their own jaded cynical, that is the word, their own jaded cynical point of view, allows them to impact the youth, allows them to impact these young impressionable people, and really, like, I don't know, just like infect them with negativity. And there should be some way to vet for that. I wish I knew the right
Right,
way.
I have no answers for
I
you on
don't
that.
have the answers, but like you could just see some of the folks who are like, you don't actually, you're either not at all invested in the lives of these young people and like who they become, but you just want them to hear your stories, or you're so invested in these young people that you don't have healthy boundaries because you think you're one of them. And like, I need us to
I need us to not do that.
I need us to not do that.
I
I need us
knew
to not do.
I knew we were in the shit when I was sitting in a class and the professor was looking at the same YouTube video that I looked at the night prior, and I was like, fuck this, I'm going home.
Oh
I just walked out. I was like, okay, this is dumb. I'm going home. Cool, cool. No, I figured it out. I know the secret now. You do not trust the man behind the curtain. Great.
no! Yikes!
Cool. So I went home.
I'm lucky, folks, audience. So we're 6 years apart, and that 6 years matters in a variety of reasons. But like my undergrad experience was 2002 to 2006, and so that puts Tyrone's at 20,
Mine was 2012.
2008, 2000. Say
Yeah.
again.
I because
2012,
I started I took 2 years off.
You did, yes. So, right. So 2012, 2015. So it's like
Yeah.
our educational experiences are different, both in like, we barely had email, like to sound like an old person,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the idea of even having a YouTube situation, like my folks were, my teachers didn't understand the internet in any way as a player for what we could do, right? We're very stuck in what the traditional mode of performance was. Like, again, like this, we're talking about like, this is before Issa Rae, like before a web series was a thing. And so to reiterate, they're like, the ability, them not knowing what to do with me maybe gives them a little credit in the sense that they felt like there was no way I was going to have a career because they couldn't see anybody who looked like me. I still mad at them about it. Right? Because people made, even with the opportunity of like, these are the things you can make, you can generate some work, you could figure it out. And for folks then just being this like, well, I'm not going to waste my time. It's like, actually, tuition is being paid. This isn't your time. This is your job. You should still
Yeah.
show up. And again, renaming that, I had some great people who did do that, who did show up. But I had to build in college. I had to really build what my story was going to be, and really to feel like this sustain of like, where you're going to quit or you're going to whatever. And like, I will name that there are a few people who I graduate with who are still actively working, who are still out there doing the thing. But I'm definitely in the minority of folks who managed to build a career in the arts.
100%. I can
Right,
count
who
on
stayed,
one hand.
right? Like, who stayed in it. Like, I do this differently, working art service, working in the nonprofit space, but like building a career in the arts, like a lot of folks left, did other things. I'm not mad at them. I'm not saying anybody should have to stay in it. But like this idea that like somehow I wasn't going to have, because they couldn't figure out who was going to cast me in what, they were just like, well, I just don't see what you're going to do here, so go somewhere else. I think everybody expected me to like, I don't know, maybe go to law school and like stop. And I know a bunch of people who went from acting degrees to law school and did the thing, and it was great. But like, it just does a disservice to the youth to have teachers who are just like, well, because I can't envision it for you, it doesn't exist for you.
It's such a disservice. It's a thing that it's also a thing that I think is really hard to it's really hard to fake that. I had I've had a handful of teachers that I truly embrace, and I can't remember a lot of their names right now. But there is one teacher who stands out to me in Scott Wasmuth. And he was like one of my first 3D teachers. And Scott is like an OG in the 3D game. He has things that are industry standard across industry, but that are like that he's worked on or that are like named after him. Like Scott was that dude who helped a lot of us, the school, who we are still in contact with today, retired, where people have been like, you should reach out to Scott and see if he knows how to do this thing. And like, I know D has reached out to him. I know my friend Joe has reached out to, like, everybody has gone back to be like, you should probably ask Scott. Maybe Scott might know. So like, hold on. I know, man, babe.
Technical difficulty. Beep. Well, since we paused, I don't know if we need to answer any more questions here.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're good. But yes, the talking to Scott, having the people in my life that helped me succeed are what the institute did to help me succeed, is like introduce me to these people. And how they failed me is that they were like, but you should just make cars. No.
Yeah, it does a disservice to so many people to just, again, let these students' futures be limited by the imaginations of the folks in the immediate. And I understand wanting to have like jobs. Like, I believe in job security. I understand connecting work to an educational experience, but like you just learn how to be a person in the world, and there is value for that. And the idea that you can just know exactly what somebody's career is going to look like for the next 20 years based on your own limited whatever, like, it's hubris. And I wish I had more teachers, and I had a good amount, but I wish I had more teachers who saw the idea of the potential, the idea that you could be something. I don't even know what it could be, but I'm going to give you the tools I have, so that you can then go in the world and make something of it, as opposed to the folks who were just kind of resented that the only way they could even kind of practice what they wanted to do was in front of these snot-nosed kids, you know?
Yes, the snot-nosed kids specifically.
Yeah. You could just see, you could feel it. And maybe this is, I talked at the very beginning about like undiagnosed neurodivergence. And I think also connected, this is the unofficial theme to my Marlon Wayans rant, which is just like, I understand pattern recognition, and I can really read the room, and I can see when you're masking or faking, and like authenticity is just, it's like, it can just turn me off, where it's like, I can tell you don't mean that. That's garbage. And it's wild to be an actor, to be like, to kind of feel that, where it's like, I don't think you're dropped into that at all. And like, I don't think you're just saying things and have no,
You're just reading the script at
we're
this
just
point.
reading the script. There's no internal connection, and it's wild. And it's just, there are moments where I can see it, and I just had like some professors where I was just like, this is about your ego. This isn't even about teaching us anything. This is
So
about,
many.
you're in a monologue. We just happen to be here, but you're in a monologue with you, or this conversation is with somebody who's not in this room right now, and that's fine. But like, that's what's happening. And I'm like, but why am I here?
Why am I here, B? Like,
And
I don't need to
what am I
be
supposed
here
to get
then.
out of this? Yeah. And it was in some ways hard to experience. And again, as I get older and I get more context on like what it means to be a grown up, because nobody knows anything more than a 20-year-old with a book. 20-year-old with a book knows everything, right?
A singular book.
A singular book. No, I said it's 20-year-olds with a book, everything, right? And so I get that. Some of this is like, I've mellowed a bit as I've gotten older, but I also, there's some things I've gotten angrier about, because I was like, no, you had a responsibility that you squandered, and you took it out on these kids, and you should have been a better person. You should have been a better
Should have
person.
been a better person. I
And you
also
weren't.
believe that this comes from, and this is obviously the last thing we're going to talk about for the main moment. I think it also comes from our upbringing of being surrounded by educators in so many forms, who
So
are
many.
both good people and can see the vision, can
Right.
understand the concept of like, just because I can't see it doesn't mean that your dream or vision or goal is invalidated,
Right.
which is commendable to them, and coming from a small town, even more so.
Yeah. No, these folks, like, yeah, we know so many educators, which is why, again, I want to be super clear that we are not shitting on educators. We know so many good ones, which is why I think we were both so disappointed to encounter the bad ones. It took us a
Just
long time.
so disappointed.
It's like, no, I actually know 3 people who can do this thing that you're doing
who don't
badly.
even who don't even teach your subject.
Right. And you're, get good, to go back to go back to our unofficial mantra around things. Is like, get good.
Just
Why are
get
you bad at this way?
Yeah.
Why are you using these children to work through your psyche? Like, what is your deal? Teach. Yeah. Folks, feel free to email us, hustlingwithharges@gmail, and let us know about your educational and training experiences. Like, let us know how you felt. And I will also shout out, again, to podcasts. So, talking more about my theatrical experience in the Work Shouldn't Suck podcast, I strongly suggest it. But also, friends of the pod, Francesca Ramsey and Delon Grant, they did their very first episode, if I'm not mistaken, of Let Me Fix It was an examination of our acting time. Like, you want to hear, since I if you aren't familiar, we all met in this undergraduate acting experience, and so they launched their podcast talking about our undergraduate training. And so I suggest, if you want to go back through their archives, listen to that first podcast episode, and I believe we'll link it. We'll see where we can get it, and hear about some more stories about what my undergraduate experience was like.
Fantastic. Also, yes, shout out to them. Shout out to the Let Me Fix It podcast. I love it. It's so ridiculous.
They're great.
Next, we're bringing back a segment that we've only done once, but it's Learning Edges, where we talk about the things that we're currently learning or skills we want to learn right now.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump in because why not? I mentioned last time we talked about Learning Edges that I was really trying to understand this, like learn more about digital illustration and surface and pattern design. And I'm still trying to engage with that, but I'm going to name a frustration actually around learning. And it really is about capitalism. Again, surprise, surprise.
The unofficial third host.
The unofficial third host, right? Capitalism, how it breaks things. But it's been hard to try to find places to learn from, because the internet is full of folks selling you the plan to sell you the plan. I wish I could articulate that more specifically.
That's exactly what it is.
They're like, this is how you can monetize X, or, make these courses, whatever. It's like, no, I don't actually want the course to make the course. I would like a course to learn how to do the thing.
I just want to do the thing.
I want to learn how to do the thing. I want like an elements of design, or I want to learn the skill. And there are some places out there, Coursera, Skillshare, Udemy. There are places that you can learn things that are helpful. But so many of the marketing, like it's so hard to separate the wheat from the chaff, as it were, in that all of the things now are about selling the course and making the money to survive the capitalism, as opposed to being able to make the thing. And so it's just been hard to learn some of the things I want to learn. I'm not opposed to paying for it, but I am really hesitant to pay for courses without knowing what am I paying for. Because if every course is ultimately this is how you market this course, this is how you game Facebook, this is how you play the algorithm, I'm like, I don't want that course. I want to learn how to do a different skill better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my learning edge right now is naming that, like, frustration of, like, I don't know how to learn things in this world right now because I don't know where the reputable learning spaces are. Because even the, like, online spaces that are, like, connected with universities are kind of opaque about what's happening. Like, they're looking more and more like the courses, the blogger courses. And I'm not shitting on bloggers either, but I'm just trying to be like, who's a skilled person teaching a thing that I could look at?
Oh man, that's gone, baby.
Where are you? Are there learning annexes anymore? If I say those words, does anybody know what that means? Where
learning annex.
Right? Like, where can I go to learn things that isn't just somebody who started doing this a year and a half ago
and has made $10 million.
Right. Who has started doing this a year and a half ago, telling me how they figured it out in 12 3-minute YouTube videos. I'm like,
I need 12 hours of
I want skills. I keep trying to learn things, again, going back to the surface and pattern thing. I was like, okay, where's a book that somebody uses as a reference, right? Give me a book. I like a book. I don't always read a book, but I do like to have reference books. And, you know, and I will say, maybe this is like one of the last vestiges of like my sewing thing, but like sewing is really good about books where it's like, here is a compendium, here is a thing that's like, here's a reference guide where that can walk you through things. Like I do love a tutorial. Again, I love a video. I understand that there are a variety of ways to learn, but I also like things where it's like grounded in this reference.
Yeah.
Start at the book and then you can practice it. And this is how we come back to the book. Great. So many of these online courses are just like, I'm going to show you how to monetize this hobby. And I'm like, okay, but I actually want to learn how to do the hobby first.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, so where's the book that you started or the book that you read? You can't tell me that you learned a thing and you didn't look at one book one time. Give me that.
What's really interesting,
I can't find it,
is that we have reached a point in the world where the answer to that question is yes. They had no, we don't. I don't need to look at a book. There's not one time I need to look at a book to figure out how to do something. Not one.
I don't like that world.
This is it. You don't need a physical book to learn how to do something. You need a, $12 a month YouTube account so you don't have ads and you can then just kind of learn anything. It's the reason there's a reason why it's the second largest search engine in the world. But I get you on this, especially like being a creative entrepreneur, you're looking at this like, are you not, at least specifically for me as a designer and animator, a lot of people are like, are you a freelance animator and you're not making $75,000 a month? What is wrong with you? Come buy my 30-minute step-by-step PDF for $200 and in 3 months, you will be making $75,000 a month. Have I bought some of these fucking books? Yes. Argue with your mama. Okay.
No judgment. No judgment.
Don't come for me. Sometimes Instagram get my ass. Okay. But other times I'm like, okay, what they're not telling you is, or if they are telling you, they're telling you in this like kind of like cool, convoluted way. They're like, with my 20 years of industry experience, I left my 6-figure paying job 2 years ago to start my own business with capital that I raised from working at an industry or in an agency for 20 years.
Right, with my built-in client base.
With my built-in client base.
So I took these clients and these relationships, and it's like, oh, so the secret is do the job well for 20 years.
Do the job well for 20 years.
And then scam people with this book talking about doing the job well for 20 years. Like, you aren't giving me anything practical. You're giving me be in the industry.
Sir.
Ouroboros ass advice.
We're just doing this. Okay, this is dumb. Like, you're not. I have a couple masterclasses.
It's like how to launch successful siblings podcast. B, Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson. Bring famous people on your. It's like great. They too have a siblings podcast. They are great. Again, but that's like the advice is like, okay, well, first be the first lady of the United States. Okay, well, I can't.
Okay.
Okay, do that part. Then call famous people and have them also be on your podcast. And I'm like, yes, those are skills. Those are ways to success, but that's not transferable. And you can't sell me an ebook about that. Anyway, Tara, you were saying.
But that's it. That's it. It's just like you want people to buy your book and you want people or join your course or get your newsletter or do all these things. And you're like, oh, but the easy part is I'm going to give you the 12 steps that I know how to do over the 20 years it took me to get here. And I was like, what they're not telling you is that one of the steps is do it for 20 years. Well, and then these points will start to apply.
Yeah, have connections.
Have connections. Okay, build relationships. You're not going to build relationships in 4 months with 3 easy payments of $9.99. That's just not going to work. You're going to have to find an industry. This is coming from somebody who has no industry experience. Like, I have never once worked at an agency as a designer. which is why it's harder for me. And
Right.
I get that.
No,
And I
I
get
fully
that.
get it.
But you're telling these people that you can do it. If you're a freelancer, you can also make 8 grand a month, 9 grand a month doing this. You can, but it's not going to take 6 months. I don't care how good you are.
Right.
It's going to
Unless
take
you
a year.
find it's going to take forever, but you also have to find the exact right client who's willing to
Yes.
leverage their social capital and interests and all of that for you. And that is not
It's
impossible,
not
but
impossible.
acting like that's a thing that you can skill for is a problem. It's like not you. It's like it is catch. It literally is like buy my course and I will teach you how to capture lightning in a bottle. And it's like you actually, because it is in the realm of possibility. Sure, you can do that. It is can in the sense of it is physically possible in the realm of like if there's two worlds of like not actually possible and possible on that binary. Yes, it is probable, likely, even gameable, even like plannable. No, it is not.
It's and like you said, like Gigi LaFleur said, this ain't some shit I heard.
Right. Right.
Right?
Should I know?
I've bought more courses than I want to say because I'm like, well, maybe they've got 20 years of experience. What is this? Of course, these steps must work. No, the big step is have 10 plus years of experience of doing, and that's experience at all of doing the thing, be bad at it.
Right.
That's like my learning edge is be bad at the thing. Justin Roiland, who is one of the creators of Rick and Morty, says in this interview where he's shirtless, it's so ridiculous. He's just on stage shirtless. But he's like, the cool thing about being a good writer is that you get to be a bad writer first. You get to fill your tank with shit and drive forward. He's like, very few industries allow you to do that, to just be terrible and still move forward. And he was like, just write. Just know that everybody wants to be a good writer. Just write until you're a good writer. That's like,
Absolutely, yeah. To go back to the point I said around like the value of, I think, a good creative education is the ability to just do the
just
thing
do the thing.
with these dedicated time and or space and or resources. Like that's what I miss. And in so many ways, like, and I think that's partially why like these courses or things are so frustrating to me, is I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not even looking for a shortcut. I would love in some ways some steps to practice. Like give me a structure. It's like draw these things and then draw those things and draw that thing. Be bad at it. Give me just a prompt to write in some ways, or give me some things, just like give me a little bit of structure to bounce off of, because I don't even know what muscles I should be flexing. Because if nothing else, like theatrical training really taught me, it's like, all right, these are the types of things you should be working on. How you work on them, you're fine. But like stretching, you should understand what your body's doing at any time. You should know, where does your voice go? What does that sound like? Okay, these are vocal exercises. Here are warm-ups. Here are things to know in my body. Is this there? How is my body different from the character's body? Like, I have tactics to work on. Whatever my process is for any actor, whatever their process is to get through those tactics is fine. But I do wish there was just more spaces that weren't just about how do I sell the thing. It's like, no, what are the things I look at when I want to learn the thing or when I practice the thing? Because if you tell me, Malcolm Gladwell, who I'm breaking up with, but whatever, you tell me the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing or 10,000 hours of like, practice. What do I practice? Where do I start? Give me a place to start practicing.
where do I practice is a
Right.
thing that lives in my head where I'm like, okay, what's thing? And this is why I think I really love 3D to like bring it home to land this plane is, is that like the courses that I do for 3D, everybody is like, let me rephrase that. The courses that I'm watching, I'm sure there are courses where it's like, this is how you gamify the industry. I'm not in those. The courses that I'm watching are like, this is how you create this scene. We are going to open the program. We're going to start. Do you know how to save a file? You do now. Like, here is 60 hours of videos broken up into 20 minutes apiece. It's going to cost you $500, but you're going to have the skills to create this scene and scenes like it. The people I watched where they're like, do it with us, do it with us, do it with us. And this one dude I was watching, he's like, do it with me and then delete the phone. Do it again. Don't even save. We're not even in the process of saving this right now. We're just building the muscle memory of where things are in the program. We're creative, we're flexing creatively, we're figuring things out. This is how you do this. Doing lightning, he was like, so a course I'm working on is working on lightning. And he was like, doing lightning is fine. He was like, but now it's a line. You know how to do lightning. Slow it down, make it thicker. Now you have goop. Well done. Well done. Look at the things we have done now. One skill has taught you 8 different things how to do something in here. And
Absolutely.
that's where I'm at in my learning curve, in my learning
Nice.
edge, where I'm like, cool. Like along with that, I'm also learning how to be like a showrunner. What does a showrunner actually do? Or are you just like you have creative input, but are you really just a nigga on set? Or do you have to like really, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, because a showrunner and director are two separate people. They're two separate jobs that are, union jobs. So like are once that happens, okay, are you allowed in the writers room anymore? Now do you have to have like a delegate? Oh, I'm just learning all these different things to like one show the universe that I'm serious about this, whatever, however that manifests physically, metaphysically, but to show the universe like, no, I this is what I want to be doing. But also to like when it happens, you get in there, you're not stumbling around like a colt on ice. You're just like, I'm just here figuring it out. I got a little bit of bearings. I know where, I know how to, from a martial arts standpoint, like, I'm coming in as a white belt, but I've sat in a couple classes, nigga know I can throw a punch. Like,
Well, yeah, being ready for your success. I mean, we've talked about that in previous episodes. Like, how do I at least try this on me? How do I see? How do I see where I need to learn? It's like some stuff you might be like, oh yeah, I do understand that. That is like, oh no, I don't know that at all. All right,
yeah.
let me get to it. Let me be open. Let me be coachable. You know.
And to go back to coachable, but to quote, a line from the movie Constantine, Shia LaBeouf's character goes, if you're gonna sit on the bench, you might as well know how to play. Like 100%. I'm just waiting to get called up. That's really it. And I'm
Right.
gonna get there and I'm gonna have the knowledge and the temperament, which I think is also important, to have the knowledge and the temperament of somebody who is like both, I know a little bit enough to where you may not be able to take advantage of me, but I am malleable enough to be coachable, to be the best that I can be.
Oh, amazing.
This
Look
is
at us.
solid. Look at us. This was good.
We had so many things to talk about. All of our educational things. And so with that, we're gonna go into the heart and soul of the show.
Mmm.
Work hard, play hard.
Well done.
So, continuing our theme, right? Really talking about education. So we've talked about like our experiences. And so we're going to jump into the work hard portion. I want to say, how do you keep your training fresh as your craft evolves? What does ongoing learning look like for you now?
That's a really awesome question, and I am thankful for the industry for that because the industry is constantly evolving. There's always new tech, or tech is always getting updated. People are finding new techniques. I love that there is a different way to do almost everything in 3D. Whether that's a plugin, where there's somebody who's like, "Oh, I found you can actually do this and skip 2 steps." Or other people are like, but I like the 2 steps because it gives you more control over the, like there's so many different ways to do things. So like how I keep it, like thankfully the industry keeps it fresh for me. There's always new people, and the gap of really talented artists getting younger. And so a lot of young people are like also opening up their knowledge of like Blender or Unreal, these free programs where they're like, I was at home and I figured out you could do this. And so I made a video on YouTube and it got a million views or whatever. And I switch. Like some days I'll do more visual effects stuff. Some days I'll do script writing. Some days I'll do like administrative stuff. Like I'm wearing many hats. Like I pride myself in being adaptable, which I'm sure is the ADHD talking. But I pride myself in being adaptable to being able to be like, oh, let's learn this today. Let's learn this today. Let's learn this today. And to also have the forethought of seeing a course that has come out of something that I may want to learn how to do one time and being like, okay, maybe I need to keep an eye on this. And if this goes on sale, we'll get this. And it might be a program that, or not a program, but like a course that I don't take for 6 months because it's not super prevalent right now, but it is something that I want to learn.
Amazing. I did mention earlier that I would talk about the one audition I went to when I first moved here. So I moved to New York City as an actor, and they were doing at the time a revival of Intisaki Shanke's For Colored Girls Who Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Was Enough, and they had auditions, and that's a show that's like changed my life, and I really believed in it. So I was like, I'm gonna go. Did all this acting training. I had my own frustrations with like what it meant to be an actor, and again being around people who perceived me, and or people who kind of failed to perceive me, frankly. And I was like, but if there's a show that where people are likely to see me, where my black womanness is in fact not a thing that they're trying to figure out, but is a thing that they deeply understand, this is the one. And so I auditioned, and I gave what feels like the best audition I've ever given. I did the monologue, the Woman in Blue, and I loved it. And I remember feeling it, and I was like, this is actually what the training was for. It was to do this, was to show up, is to have like what in many ways I'd conceived as like a dream moment, being able to audition for this show in this space. And I was able to show up for it. And ultimately that iteration of the show didn't go. But I felt it, and I walked out of there going, you know what, I don't have to do this again.
Amazing.
I was like, no, I had the skills. I was able to meet it. I was able to show up and give them what I wanted to give them. And then
you had a true like moment of fulfillment.
Yeah. Whereas like, it'd be great if whatever, if they call and we're like, we're going to do the show, I'm not going to not do that. But but this is it. This, I could see just really clear, with real clarity, that this was what I had trained for. This is the thing I wanted. I was able to meet this moment. I showed up, I got called in, I got to do the thing, and
literally everything else is gravy.
Everything, right. And I was like, this is all right, great. I don't know if I have to do this again. And I have not felt called to audition again for anything. I've built a career in a variety of ways. I was like, this is it. But like, this is it. This is the acting moment. And if I get asked to do a thing, I would love to do it. But again, I don't have to. And so part of it is like, how do I keep the training fresh, even though I don't really act anymore? And it is, one, just still identifying in some ways as a creative person. Like I am, even if I'm not an actor by profession, I'm definitely an actor by practice, in training. I stay deep in the connection to my body. Like, what are my emotions? Like really trying to be aware of like what's happening. I always think I approach the world as an actor. I also think as a director, it shows up where it's like, what are all the elements telling the story? What is that actor doing? What are the choices they're making? Like, I'm always kind of analyzing and reviewing things through the lens of the actor. I experience a lot of work. But yeah, for me, it was retiring in some ways from the practice, but not from I take it back. We're retiring from the job, but not from the practice or the ideology.
No, I really love that.
I engage with actors. I love to talk shop. I love to read a text and understand like what it is. Like I still bring those skills up. And then learning, like knowing that I have skills from acting training I did it for a while. Using that in how I approach learning new things, how I learn in my day jobs, how I learn in like building things and really understanding what it means to pull, again, elements together to tell a story. Just sometimes that story isn't fiction. Sometimes that story is, how do we get through this meeting? The story is, how do we tell the story of of this project. How do we sell the story of this program? But using those skills is a daily practice. It's a daily part of how I live my life.
I think the combination of that, of watching you build and create that space for yourself has made me a better storyteller and person because I watch how you dissect stuff. Like, and this is decades worth of stuff. But like watching how you dissect a film allows me to dissect a film differently because of your point of view. Like coming from a thespian, like and how you like you said, how you know where your emotions are, how you where you feel in your body, all the things that you previously stated. It allows me to like look at actors as characters in my stories, so I know where to put people. Like I feel like I'm gonna have a really fun time casting stuff because of the conversations and media we've consumed together as me and you, but together as also a as like a familial unit of how everybody in the house, and I say in the house, I mean growing up, so me, you, mom, and dad, all looked at and dissected films differently.
Yeah, it's having a deep analytic view is just helpful, and it's led me into everything.
Very cool.
Was that my question or was that your question?
I think that was your question. When have you used your training in a totally unexpected and non-artistic way?
That's a great question, and sometimes I feel like it is dealing with narcissistic bosses.
Every day.
Frankly,
Every
every day.
day.
No, and I don't, do not have a narcissistic boss now, but I have had them, and sometimes it's just like I can. It's harder. It's definitely gotten harder as I get older, but I can definitely make my face do things that my brain is not doing. Right, where I'm like deeply engaged.
Right.
Just
And your brain is
so
like, you are crazy.
right, where it's like, but we're gonna hold on. And so, I truly think like corporeal awareness is something that people discount actors for, and it's like, no, a lot of actors who are very good understand what their body is doing and can be in control of more of it than you think they are. And like, talking about like making yourself cry on cue or whatever, but like letting like the twitches, letting your body say it's responding in one way when your brain is like, oh no, is probably the skill I use the most, where you're like, this is what my body would do, so this is how I know it shouldn't. Right? Like, this is what's gonna go on. All right, fine. This is where I'm going to breathe. This is the thing where you're like, this is what my emotional response is going to do. Like, I can feel if I'm trying to not be frustrated. It's like I feel the tears. All right, we're gonna take the deep breath. We're gonna regulate. We're gonna know the feeling is there, but these are the ways we're gonna stop it for a moment until we get to
Right.
where we gotta go.
That's very cool. I mean,
Um,
it is both cool and like a thing that you just have to do.
yeah. Yeah, but there are very few classes where it's like, what do you look like when you cry? And like, that is what theater, that's part of what theater happens. Like, when you are angry, what happens? You're like, oh, I get hot and this tenses up and this is where it goes. And it's like, all right, we're going to lower this tension. We're going to see, we're going to know that that's what that feeling is. And we're going to do some things to not show those yet. So that's probably the most unexpected or non-artistic way, where you're like, nope, nobody here is going to know what's going on with me right now. I gotta go.
I gotta go. I think a thing for me that has like helped me, or not helped me, but like a thing that I use is I've been always been very good at finding trends in things. Like seeing somebody do something, I can kind of whittle it back down to like, okay, who was like not a pioneer so much, but like a visionary, or like the first person to really do it well. And that's the thing that I've always kind of been good at. And I think it's because I've just watched so much, just consumed so much media and just like stored it in a vault somewhere. But it happens a lot when I'm hanging out with like corporate marketing friends, and they're like, this happened. And I was like, well, they gotta really thank this person. And they're like, have you thought of strategy as a thing? And I'm like, it's the first time you're talking to me about it. but it's always, it's always felt like a thing where, like I talk about, we talk about like Afrofuturism sometimes. And like heard people say this, I believe it. Just because you have Bantu knots does not mean that you are Afrofuturism. That's my own baggage I got to deal with. I'm fine with that. But like when we think of Afrofuturism, we think of Wakanda, we think of things. Maybe people are and they're just not talking about it enough for me, but you're not talking about what's it going to be video, which at the
Oh, it's going to
time
be yes.
with Janet Jackson and I don't have to explain this to you. But like that video is entirely 3D. The whole video is 3D. Busta Rhymes turns into a liquid man, which at the time would have blown up computers. like all the reflectiveness, everything about that video is Afrofuturism, and it's a thing that I don't see a lot of people pulling from it as inspiration. And maybe this is my man yells at cloud moment. where I just shake my fist at the sky. But like Afrofuture, for some reason, people believe Afrofuturism is only like a few years, like a decade old. And I'm like, no, Afrofuturism has been around so much longer than you think. Like at the moment, let's talk, Afrofuturism. Let's talk about the modern gaming console is invented by a black man. Like we are living in Afrofuturism.
Right. And understanding that, like, understanding those lineages is a part of your artistic practice, and I appreciate the ways in which you like pull that through everything.
Everything. It's my entire. It's everything.
With that, we're gonna jump into the more playful side. We're already kind of leaning into it a little bit, but the play hard question. Yeah, I like this question. Is if you could design your dream artist training program, what's the most unconventional class you'd put on the syllabus?
Unconventional class. I don't know if it's unconventional. It's a class I want to do. It would be called That's My Music, JT, a retrospective of Robert Townsend films. and we would go through and we would discuss the greatness that is Robert Townsend.
I appreciate that's like not even about, it doesn't matter what you're training for. You just need to understand.
You need to understand
Robert Townsend's film oeuvre and make it work.
What it is to build
Absolutely.
a brand by yourself. Like Robert Townsend had help. He had, him and Keenan were roommates. Like there are things, but for him to be like, nah, we're gonna kind of throw one of the first black superheroes on in a movie. And if you're black, you're probably in Meteor Man. And if
every
not
time
Meteor
I
Man,
see
you're in Five Heartbeats for sure.
For sure. Every time I see James Earl Jones in that wig, it brings me joy. Okay.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
It brings me joy. I love it.
He throws it when they betray him.
Him in that wig is that whole Meteor Man. I can't. We can have a whole episode. Maybe we'll have a bonus episode that is just us talking about Robert Townsend and Meteor Man. And I love that. That would be an amazing film. That'd be an amazing that would be an amazing course.
I would love if Robert Townsend would teach it.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's a good question. I wish I had a better answer. But my first answer, and I don't even know what I'm trying to train people for, but my first answer truly would be emotional regulation in the workplace.
I love that.
I was like, no, I think we need, much like kindergartners are taught, like this is what we do with our big feelings. I think we need to re-up on some of those lessons because people haven't quite figured it out. And so for any training program is emotional regulation in the workplace. This is
by Tabitha Brown.
right. Although, she's in a little bit of trouble right now anyway, but that's fine. I mean, she's fine. She just told everybody to get to work in an economy that nobody, where there's no work, and so it felt a little out of touch. But whatever. Tabitha Brown, I don't know Tabitha. I hope she's well. But no, I have longer stories, but it's also connected to like what I was talking about with the teachers. It's like so many adults are in charge of other adults and don't know how to regulate their feelings.
Yes.
I'm not saying, and when I say regulate feelings, I am not talking about suppress, although sometimes I recognize you have to, but like a lot of times managers teachers, clients decide that because they feel a thing, that however they respond is the appropriate response. And it's like, hey, I don't trust you, so that means I can yell at you. No. Actually, yelling is not okay. Miss Rachel voice, right?
Yes, got it. What's it? Got it.
Got it. Keep our hands and bodies to ourselves. You aren't yelling. You can talk about feeling distrustful. So what are the ways in which we can create transparency and be in agreement? Like, straight up, I think and forget artist training programs. I will also, actually, I'm going to shout out artists specifically, and this is not a good shout out, this is a call in that a lot of times people think because they are artists and are ruled by the feelings, by this process or whatever, that they can like be jerks because they make good art. And it's like, no, that's still a problem of emotional regulation. That's still an issue. Like, you can't be a jerk just because you make decent work. Yeah. And you spend a lot of energy being a jerk. So what if you took some of that jerk energy and used it to be creative and or kind to your collaborators? Yeah. And so, yes, emotional regulation for artists and or in the workplace would be my dream unconventional class, because we need it. And I need folks to understand that how they feel is impacting how they behave, and mostly in negative ways.
Yeah. That's great.
I also would like I think my second class would be Excel for artists, because
that's fun.
Stop doing math in Word documents. Stop it. This is for everybody. Just basic Excel. You don't have to know all the spreadsheets or whatever, but you were building budgets in Word and then doing math manually, and literally Excel is there to do the math for you, because you make an adjustment and then all of a sudden all your math is out. You have to figure out it's there, and you somehow think that's easier, and it's not easier. Put the numbers in Excel, hit sum, let it do the math for you. Let it do the math for you.
Don't yell at me.
Nope. I am yelling because the logic bothers me, because you're saying you're bad at math, and so then you do the situation where you still have to do the math, and that you already said you were bad at it. So use the system that allows the computer to do the math for you.
Right, the thing that's good at the math.
The thing that's good at the math. Don't build the thing where you, who are bad at the math, because you said you were bad at the math, have to do the math. Let the computer do the math for you. At the very least, the computers may kill us all, but we know that they know how to do the math. That's the thing. We know they know how to do that.
We know they know how to do that. That's very true.
So yes, the first one, really emotional regulation first, but definitely light Excel for artists. Subtitle, let it do the math for you. That's it.
My second unconventional class would definitely be it's dangerous to go alone, take these, which are it would be a retrospective of what gaming has taught me and how to live my life.
I do like that. That'd be a fun survey. Yeah.
It'd have classes like, if there's enemies forward, you're going the right way. like
Right.
Check every corner.
If that looks different, there's probably a reason.
If that looks different, there's probably a reason.
And also
percentages over flat rates.
And if they're giving you a bunch of health packs, take them.
Yeah.
Prepare for danger.
Right? Did it autosave? Did it autosave again? You should probably prepare for something.
Prepare for danger. Are there a bunch of on ramps? Are there off ramps? Are there ways to exit? Mark them. You don't have to take them, but know where they are.
And my last one, which is the thing that I do constantly, is get all the fast travel points first. Get all the fast travel points.
Yeah, absolutely.
However that looks in your world.
Mm-hmm.
And I see fast travel points as people.
Oh yeah. How's this supposed to get me here?
Yep, you can get me here. Amazing.
I feel both work hard and play hard. I feel good about what we talked about today.
I too feel both work hard and play hard. So stupid.
Amazing.
Such a stupid thing. I'm gonna say
Ah,
that forever now.
good. What is it if I work hard, didn't play hard? Thank you all for hanging with us. Please tell us about your educational experiences. Tell us about your nonsense that you experienced when somebody tried to learn you something. My grandmother, rest in peace, would say two things that I still hear, which was, she talked about get your learning every once in a while, and she would say it with a laugh, but it would get your learning or get your lesson out.
Oh, get your lesson out.
Yes. And I think about that. So, folks, get your lessons out. Tell us what you're learning. Tell us what folks tried to learn you. Tyrone, hit us with them socials.
You know them socials, baby. At Hussin' with Harges across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Okay. My question for the comment section: what is your unconventional course in your training program? Is it a Robert Townsend retrospective?
Absolutely. What is the thing?
I want to know what your training program is. Give me the thing that has gotten you through life that is extremely unconventional that you're like if other people knew this, maybe their lives would be a little smoother.
Word and a half. Join us for our next episode where we're going to talk about, the opposite of our success fantasy. What happens when you're dealing with disappointment or when you're just burned out and can't quite see the positives. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to have our own ridiculous stamp on it, right? But
Like
really,
everything.
yeah. Yeah, what do you do? So if you can't get the third yacht, but you got it and bills are due, baby. How do you manage disappointment? How do you stay focused in that space? Thank you for your time, energy, attention. This is always a pleasure. Thank you for listening. And we're getting toward the end, y'all. So if there's some things you want to hear us talk about, again, hit us on the socials, hit us in that email, and we will talk to you soon. We'll see you in a few weeks.
See you in a few weeks. We love you. Bye.
Bye.